If I were to describe the movie I'm going to be talking about today, I think the word would be saucy. I mean, maybe even very saucy. I mean, as I talk about it, I think it will become more obvious as to why. But I'll go ahead and give you just a little bit of a hint right here.
Enter the bizarre world of the psychosexual mind. From Carlo Ponti, who brought you Dr. Zhivago, now... Torso. 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 It saturates the screen with terror. Torso. Rated R.
Also, not that this has anything to do with saucy, but where does that trailer get off screaming at me? I'm your host, Mike Cadaver, bringing back the Cadaver Lab here as a video series. Today we're going to be trying to figure out what it means to have a psychosexual mind as I talk Torso from 1973. Let's get into it. Currently on IMDb, Torso is sitting at a 6.5 with around 8,800 ratings. It was written and directed by Sergio Martino. He has 43 writing credits and 68 directorial credits. He has an amazing filmography. Some highlights are The Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward from 1981. That stars Edwidge Fenech. Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key from 1972. Also with Edwidge Fenech. Slave of the Cannibal God from 1978, Island of the Fishmen 1979, and on and on and on. He actually wrote the story for this and wrote the screenplay with his collaborator Ernesto Gastaldi, who has 123 writing credits of his own. This movie stars Susie Kendall as Jane, Tina Almont as Danny, Luc Miranda as Roberto, John Richardson as Franz, Roberto Bisacco as Stefano Vanzi, Ernesto Colli as Gianni Tommaso, the street vendor. We'll talk about him in a minute. Angela Covello as Katya, and Carla Brate as Ursula. Now, I think as we get into this, the first thing I have to say is that the tagline sounds like something from a Rob Zombie video that he would put like one of the beginning of his songs or something like that. Like I said, very saucy. It's a great way to get your attention.
Enter the bizarre world of the psychosexual mind.
So the movie starts out with a very artistically captured threesome photo shoot. Now, I don't mean artistically in a good way. It just leaves us squinting and straining to try to see what the heck is going on. Oh, that was just me? You guys enjoyed it for the actual art? Oh, my bad. I'll tell you what, though. The cinematography was done by Giancarlo Ferrando, who did a great job. He did a bunch of other great films and has worked with Sergio Martino before. He did the cinematography for Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key. All the Colors of the Dark from 1972. According to IMDb, he would chalk up 120 cinematography credits in his career, including Troll 2, Devilfish, and Hands of Steel. All amazing. Jokes aside, this film was not only gorgeous because of Ferrando's cinematography, but also because of the gorgeous Peruvian settings. A great example of one of these beautiful settings is actually in the building which an art history lecture is being given, right? I'll tell you what, though, it was a gorgeous building, but sometimes those old buildings can be a little cold and drafty. Or so I hear. We're introduced to four main girls, hot students studying abroad in Italy: Flo, Carol, Jane, Donnie, Katya, and Ursula. So that's actually 6 main girls. My math was way off there. Basically, they're just a group of hot friends in the prime of their lives. They do what normal college-age women do. They eschew the advancements of lame dudes, flirt with the locals, and since it's a Giallo, a sexy Giallo, they engage in sex and drugs. That's bad news, guys. Stay away from that. It's at this point in the movie that we're introduced to the killer. He wears a gray ski mask and a red and black scarf. He attacks Flo and her man as they are doing it in some sketchy, abandoned area in their tiny car. Actually, it's funny because later on we realize that in that area it's where many of the locals go and litter, if you know what I mean. You know, litter? That's where they poop. But anyway, it's a pretty violent and sexually motivated murder characterized by the mutilation of, well, I don't want to say it, but just know I'm an expert. There's some scenes in the piazza that give us some potential suspects. We got Stefano, a man who was wearing a black and red scarf in the art history class earlier. He's got the hots for Danny, but those feelings are unrequited. We got some strange, stern-looking man who purchased a red and black scarf from the street vendor. He's mysterious, and in the beginning, we actually learned that he's a doctor in the small town of Tagliacozzo. I hope that was even close to how that word is pronounced, but who knows. Last but not least, we got the sweaty and creepy street vendor. The street vendor who sells red and black scarves and is creepy and sleazy looking. Yeah. Sweaty face. Okay, cool, bro. What you looking at? He tells the cops when they come by that he sells dozens of those a day, but also seems to know a little bit too much. The very next day, Carol goes with a couple of hooligan-looking guys on a motorcycle to a party. But when I say a party, I mean a hippie commune meeting where there's a lot of drugs, alcohol, music, dancing, sex, and groping. That's all going on. Honestly, it looks awful. The smell alone in that place would be enough to keep me from going within a half a mile. She shoots down the stinky motorcycle guys, walks around the swamp that's right outside of the hippie commune party. She runs into the killer, and he takes care of business in the way a person with a psychosexual mind would have done. Obviously, the girls are beside themselves because all these psychosexual murders. But good thing Danny's uncle, who might have had an affair with Carol, very psychosexual, and likes to look at Danny in an inappropriate manner, has a house in the country, in the city of Tagliacozzo, where he suggests Danny and her friends take some time to get some R&R. We have some sweet scenes, such as the vendor's head getting smashed against a wall because of his attempt to blackmail, Stefano basically telling Danny if he can't have her, nobody can. However, things get really going when they're up at the villa. Small town boys talking their bull crap.
There's 8 legs, 8 titties, and 4 sets of ass.
We get some very psychosexual scenes, from sunbathing to some women-on-women action. But most importantly, we get the finale of this movie, which is really great. In fact, the last probably 20 minutes of this is pretty intense. I mean, even for a guy like me who's seen basically every movie on the planet, well, anyway, you know what I mean. What happens to these beautiful students? Who is the man in the gray ski mask who has a psychosexual mind? Could there have been any more people who were super gross by sweating and panting and just being greasy? Find out by watching Torso from 1973. I was thinking about this as I was watching it. Would I consider this a giallo? And it seems like it to me. I'm just like, okay, probably the killer has black gloves. There are a lot of suspects, red herrings. We got that. However, and I've mentioned this on the Corpse Cast, my podcast, if you go to corpsecollective.com, I mentioned this on there, but there is a place you can go on the internet where you can get the answer to whether or not a movie is a giallo. Not only that, but how much of a giallo it actually is. That's thegialloscore.com. The site is amazing when it comes to giallo. The creator is like, he's watched every single giallo, I promise, I swear. And it's crazy because he also does a podcast where they're starting to talk about, they're out of gialli, so now they talk about things like Maxine and stuff like that. It's really great. I'd urge you to go over there and check it out. But he made a score sheet that gives each characteristic of a giallo film a point score. For instance, you get 10 points if the movie has an Italian director, 10 points for a killer with black gloves, etc., etc. It's not, it's a fun place to go check it out and find movies to watch, but it actually has a lot of good info on that site too. But I went there and put in Torso. Actually scores pretty high on the Giallo score, 86 out of 100. And here's why. The site also gives this a must-see rating, and so do I. I'll tell you what, the final act, like I said, was pretty intense, a lot of cat and mouse, leading some people to believe this is a proto-slasher. Now, okay, I think that the main difference between gialli, slashers, and proto-slashers is the time they came out and what the trend was at the time. Just so you know, I forgot to mention the Giallo Score guy podcast is called Giallo Ciao Ciao. Anyway, the thing is, I mean, we know that like kills from Friday the 13th were stolen from other like Bay of Blood. And the thing is this is kind of just like a slasher, but because of the time it came out, because of the style, it's got to be a giallo. But I don't know. I love this movie. It's weird. It's sweaty, it's gross, it's silly, it's funny, super entertaining. I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of mysteries, but I wouldn't really say I'm not. But this is a fun one to play along with. And to be honest with you, there was tons of suspects, tons of red herrings, tons of bizarre behavior by many of the secondary cast. And the thing is that's what's so funny. I didn't figure out who it is because everybody was acting as if they'd never been a human before that day that they were filming. And it's like, there's just some things you're like, what? Why did he act like that? But it was great. And if you subscribe to Joe Bob's Way of Thinking, this has a lot of blood, boobs, and beast in it. So it kind of lines that up and you get to watch it and knock it down as you go. The sets are gorgeous, whether it's in the city or the country. Just a fun all-around movie. It might be weird to say that because of the level of like mean-spiritedness in this. Like there's actually kind of a lot of sexual violence in this. For this video, I watched the 4K Blu-ray. You see that? This 4K Blu-ray. This is an Arrow release, and it's great. It looks awesome. There's a couple of different versions of it on this disc. 94-minute original Italian version, which is the one I watched. The 90-minute English export version. There's also, as you'd expect from Arrow, a nice helping of extras on the disc, including interviews with Sergio Martino, an audio commentary, an interview with Luke Miranda, the doctor, among other things. The film was actually highly censored in English language countries in the old days, but because of this, part of the English dub does not exist on the film, so they just throw on some subtitles there as you're watching it too. But like I said, I also checked out, I did check out the Sergio Martino interview on this, but it was great. He talked about the strange vice of Mrs. Ward. Anyway, check it out. The disc is great. The movie's great. It's fun to watch. It's a little bit silly, but it's also super fun. So I would say go check it out right now. Do me a favor. That's all I got today, but subscribe. Tell your friends about this channel and corpsecollective.com. We also do the Corpse Collective podcast, My Cadaver's Horror Pub Trivia, Empire of the Full Moon at empireofthefullmoon.com, horrorpubtrivia.com, corpsecast.com, thecorpsecast.com. Like I said, appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch you guys later.